Previously on A Very Odd Caster.
I've accepted the fact that this is not a podcast. I don't have guests on here. Nobody wants to talk to me. Well, I'm the last person on the planet Earth that should be doing a do-it-yourself video. Dumb, idiotic, and useless. Help! Help! I'm drowning! He put these walls up, built the frame, put the door in, and put the drywall up, and I painted it. Can't you tell? So right now you might be a little distracted because we've got actually a colony of jellyfish living right above us. That's what's hanging down here. No. I put insulation up and the tape is falling because it was a long time ago. It was probably a year ago. That's how fast I move on these home improvement projects. So anyhow, I've decided, finally, damn it, I'm going to put in a ceiling. But first, I have to deal with this beam. There I go again. Ah! The other problem we have is underneath the beam, there's a little space. So you can see, I can stick my finger up there. Ooh. There's another problem. I suck at using a circular saw. I'm going to have to do a much better job. Pay no mind to those jellyfish hanging from the ceiling. Just don't touch their tentacles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello and welcome again to another episode of A Very Odd Caster. Yes, indeed, I undertook a major home renovation project. We closed Caster's Pub, of course, for renovations, and you notice all the improvements. I think we have 2 extra liquor bottles on display as opposed to last time. So I was putting in a ceiling in the Caster's Pub studio / storage closet. And I decided to document this. And now we're going to take a look at part 2 of that whole process. Dumb, idiotic, and useless. So yeah, this is my studio. This is where all the strange things take place. And, I just have a random bunch of things. I've got, guitar on the wall. I've got a drum set there. I've got a keyboard there. Got another keyboard there. A better keyboard. Got some speakers. I got a shelf full of tapes, CDs, and digital things and non-digital things going back probably 100 years. And then I have these random posters. My favorite group, the Beatles, there. Also have the very first Beatles record I got when I was 5 years old. That's why it's in such horrible shape, but my son framed it for me for a Christmas present, which is very, very nice of him. That's the only thing saving it. So yeah, you got a random Beatles album frame. You've got goes my foot. You've got my comedy group from yesteryear. You've got University of Georgia thing my mother did. Very talented. Crocheting, I guess it is. Is it crocheting? I don't know what the word is. She made it, all right? She made it, all right, for me. And then, of course, what studio would be complete without the obligatory picture of Elvis and Richard Nixon? How did that ever come about? The Nixon's advisors are like, we need to make you look hip here, President Nixon. Hey, let's bring Elvis in. So, but I digress. So, this is the first stage. We do have this frame now. So we have the beginnings of what we'd be able to do. And then I'm going to cut the strips of the drywall and maybe screw them in. Try it again, maybe. I don't know. It's going to go into these guys, and they didn't like screws, so we'll have to see. Maybe tacks. I don't know. I'll think about it. I have some time, but not 20 years. Well, hello. Just a quick update here. As you might notice, we've got an addition here since the last time we talked. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell is that? I wondered the same thing. But basically, what's going on here, I went into great detail explaining how much of a pain, what a challenge it was to enclose this beam with this frame, with all these wooden brackets, because there's very hard to get support down here underneath the beam and very hard to get support on the top of the beam. And then, of course, talked about the doorway, this thing, with no room there, right? The big concern I have is that this frame that I put up there, all these brackets are not going to hold the drywall. So once I put the two big strips of drywall, actually 4 strips, 2 facing out and then 2 underneath, this frame's going to come crumbling down. That's my fear. So I said, I need some sort of additional support. It still may not be enough, but hey. So I thought, well, if I got some sort of a belt. I was thinking more in terms of like something thicker, like a metal thing, a lot of support. But I have no idea how I would mount such a thing. So I got this thing at Home Depot. Oh, actually, I bought 2 of them. Where's the other one? I found it. So I went to Home Depot and I bought this thingy. Husky 20-foot vehicle recovery strap. So it's for all those vehicle recovery type thingies. I really don't know what the hell it's for, but I guess it's to strap something to your vehicle. This guy right here. I bought 2 of them, and I had to cut off at each end this little thing because that doesn't play any factor at all in what I'm doing up here. So anyhow, cut that off, and I went all the way down here. Come with me, shall you? Come with me. And once again, sorry, I just hit my hi-hat. So once again, I run into the problem, okay, what do I connect the end of this thing to? And so I actually had to, as you can see, hammer the end of that thing into the horizontal top wooden plate that I put in there, and then wrap it around the first frame convolutedly, and then run it all the way down to the end. Come with me again. That was my writer symbol. And then that's the other end. And again, I had no place to put it. You can't really see up there because it's dark. Oh, how special. Falling insulation. Where's the jellyfish when you need them? So the other end is hammered to that top end of the top of the plate and wrapped around right there. So it goes the whole way. You know, this would be almost 16 feet in length. So, so that's what I did. And then of course I stapled the strap end to each of the brackets all along there. And it's fairly taut, as you can see. So all that is supposed to do, in my mind, is provide a little bit more support so that when we hang the drywall and it's tugging down on this, there's something underneath it. And also when we hang it this way, when it's really tugging on it, something else, some other form of support there. Again, I have no idea if that's going to work. I have no idea if any of this is going to work. And if it doesn't work, I'll just sit back with a pina colada with my jellyfish hanging from the ceilings. But anyhow, this was the idea. And so I bought, you know, these two things. And the goal was to provide a little additional support underneath the brackets. And you want to know the best news? The best news of all is that I have all this red belt left over so I can make myself several pairs of overalls. I never know when to stop. So the frame is in place. So next comes the strips of the drywall, and I'll enclose the beam, and I got to clear all this crap out on top. And then comes the ceiling, where we'll cover up the jellyfish tentacles and secure the insulation. And we'll be screwing that into the wood joists, as they are called. You can see them right there, a little better view of them right there. Those wood, you know, when they run down the wall, they're called studs, and when they run across, they're called joists. And you know, I just learned that that's pronounced joist, like hoist. I always thought it was Joyce. You know, I thought they were named after Dr. Joyce Brothers. I really did. So, I'm very pleased to be sharing this with you. And when I resume, we'll talk a little bit about what happened with the drywall. Wish me luck, because, you know, if these drywall strips pulls the frame down, I'm going to cry. You don't want to see me cry, man. You do not want to see me cry. See you next time. And again, kids, don't try this at home. Well, I think we're going to catch up on some very odd news today. But first, some actually tragic news, which is on the front pages everywhere, which is the Israel-Palestine war. And of course, this has been going on for centuries, since biblical times, before biblical times even. And it's a very tragic situation. And, you know, it's really kind of one of those things where, you know, when little kids are getting beheaded
and slaughtered, and women are getting raped and slaughtered. I don't really get the justification for any of that. So the people who are defending that are sick mofos. The other thing I don't get is that people are trying to blame Biden for somehow being responsible for this. I mean, come on. He was only a kid when all this started. Well, yes, of course, we do have a no politics policy here on A Very Odd Caster. But, you know, we're about to head into an election year, so I think I'm going to be shocked quite frequently. So the Israel-Palestine conflict is obviously a very sad state of affairs, but, you know, this shit's been going on forever. There's a few years, there's a pause, and then it heats right back up. But in odd news, I wanted to talk a little bit, now that we are in the month of October, and the leaves are turning and whatnot, I wanted to go back and revisit some of the very odd news in the headlines for the month of September. This one comes from New London, Connecticut, or Connecticut, as some pronounce it. Benedict Arnold burned Connecticut City. Centuries later, residents get payback in a fiery festival. So this talks about how 242 years ago, a month before the British surrender at Yorktown ended the American Revolution for the most part, the traitor Benedict Arnold led a force of redcoats on a last raid in his home state of Connecticut, burning most of the small coastal city of New London to the ground. So a crowd of several hundred revelers, some wearing costumes from the day, marched through the city streets on Saturday, chanting, "Burn the traitor." And they wanted to set fire to an effigy of Benedict Arnold, but they couldn't locate one, so they set comedian Tom Arnold on fire instead. No, they didn't. This story also from the month of September of the good year 2023. Woman rescued from outhouse toilet after climbing in to retrieve Apple Watch, Michigan police say. A woman was rescued from an outhouse toilet in northern Michigan after she climbed in to retrieve her Apple Watch and became trapped. The woman, whose name was not released, she goes by Shithead, lowered herself inside the toilet after dropping the watch at the Department of Natural Resources boat launch at Dixon Lake in Otsego County's Bagley Township, state police said in a release. First responders were called when the woman was heard yelling for help. The toilet was removed and a strap was used to haul the woman out. So, okay, she dropped something valuable down in an outhouse toilet and dove in to get it and got stuck. And the state police said in their release, if you lose an item in an outhouse toilet, do not attempt to venture inside the containment area. Serious injury may occur. And your eyes are really gonna water. This comes to us from this year's Ig Nobels, the prize for humorous scientific feats. Okay, so counting nose hairs and cadavers, repurposing dead spiders, and explaining why scientists lick rocks are among the winning achievements in this year's Ig Nobels, the prize for humorous scientific feats. So these are spoof prizes that go out to researchers who undertake these studies that are fucking ridiculous. Among the winners was Jan Zalasiewicz of Poland, who earned the Chemistry and Geology Prize for explaining why many scientists like to lick rocks. Well, you know, what they do in their private life is their concern, right? The real humor is that these researchers are serious about these studies. 'Twas only a matter of time before the state of Florida got into the act here. Florida's siblings, ages 10 and 11, stopped while driving mom's car on freeway 200 miles from home. A 10-year-old Florida boy and his 11-year-old sister, who were running away to California, drove 200 miles in their mother's car before they were stopped by sheriff's deputies on the highway. Yes, could I see your driver's license and registration, please? I don't have a driver's license, officer. Okay, can I see your coloring book then? Hot dog! The Wienermobile is back after short-lived name change. Some names are just the worst. W-U-R-S-T, as in brat. Just 4 months after announcing that the hot dog-shaped Wienermobile was changing its name to the Frankmobile, the distinctive Wiener on Wheels is reverting back to the original name. This took place after a successful multi-million-dollar lobbying campaign from the Kardashian sisters. Do I lie? I don't think so. The Philadelphia Phillies are in the news. Phillies deny emotional support alligator from entering ballpark. This happened at the end of the regular season. A Phillies fan and his emotional support alligator were denied entrance to watch Philadelphia host Pittsburgh. Social media posts showed the gator on a leash with a harness with his name on it outside the stadium Wednesday. Wally Gator is a working emotional support alligator owned by Joey Henney of Jonestown, Pennsylvania. The reptile has a big presence on Instagram and TikTok. Influencer gators, is that what we're talking about now? Is that where the world is heading? Oh, good. Citizen Bank Park's policy on support animals is posted on the Phillies' official website. It states, guide dogs, service animals, or service animals in training are welcome. All other animals are prohibited. Henney spoke to the Philadelphia Inquirer last year and said Wally Gator helps him battle depression and that he likes to give hugs. This dude's a lunatic. Sorry. My sympathy stops at the border. What else do we have here? Oh, moose on the loose in Stockholm subway creates havoc and is shot dead. I hate to hear about animals getting shot dead just because they're mixing in with human civilization. A moose, which was found wandering down the tracks of the Stockholm subway and causing havoc, was shot dead by a wildlife ranger on Wednesday after the service on the southern part of a busy line had to be suspended. All right, so the moose was scared, was out of its habitat, was confused, is on a freaking subway track, and is acting up, and the dumb bastard wildlife ranger shoots it dead. The poor moose tried to convince the wildlife ranger not to shoot it, pleading, how about if I pull a ribbon out of my head? Ooh. It's the end of an era for a once critical pandemic document. The ubiquitous white COVID-19 vaccination cards are being phased out. Now that COVID-19 vaccines are not being distributed by the federal government, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has stopped printing new cards. As an alternative, on a strictly volunteer basis, people can now get a tattoo on their ass saying, "I got my COVID-19 vaccine. Did you?" Now, there was not a government shutdown, but there almost was. And folks in Alaska were getting really nervous about this. Alaska's most watched popularity contest, Fat Bear Week, involves residents picking their favorite fat brown bear, who's been stocking up for winter by munching on salmon in the Katmai National Park and Preserve. Viewers of the Bears vote online in tournament-style brackets for those they want to advance to the next round until a champion is crowned in the week-long contest. More than 1 million votes were cast last year, and they all went to Joe Biden. Soon I'm going to need some hairspray. Missouri high school teacher is put on leave after school officials discover her page on a porn site. Yeah, the optics are kind of off there. Brianna Coppage, age 28, who taught English at St. Clair High School, says her teaching days are probably over, but she acknowledged she knew the risks. Coppage told the St. Louis Post-Dispatch that she was put on leave on Wednesday after being interviewed by 2 administrators. Her access to school email and other software was suspended while the district investigates, she said. Coppage said, "It was kind of always like this cloud hanging over my head, like I never knew when I would be discovered. Then about 2 weeks ago, my husband and I were told that people were finding out about it. So I knew this day was coming." I bet you knew it was coming, Brianna. Here's a lighthearted story. A 104-year-old Chicago woman is hoping to be certified as the oldest person to ever skydive after leaving her walker on the ground and making a tandem jump in northern Illinois. Dorothy Hoffner told the cheering crowd moments after touching the ground Sunday, "Age is just a number." The woman formerly was known as boxing promoter Don King. Wildlife is always in the news, it seems like. U.S. Customs officials seize giraffe feces from woman at Minnesota airport. Federal customs agents poo-pooed the plans of an Iowa woman who wanted to make jewelry from giraffe feces she picked up on a trip to Kenya and brought back to the U.S. in her luggage. The woman declared the small box of feces when she was selected to have her belongings inspected upon arriving at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport on September 29th, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. The woman, who was not identified, told officials she planned to use the waste to make a necklace, as she had done in the past with moose poop. "Darling, you look lovely tonight. You smell like shit, but you look lovely." Apparently, giraffe poop can be brought back to the U.S. with the proper permits and inspections, according to Minnesota Public Radio, who knows their shit. The station reported that the woman won't face sanctions because she declared the feces and gave it to customs. The agency's agriculture specialists destroyed the giraffe poop. A Customs and Border Protection official said, "There is real danger with bringing fecal matter into the U.S. If this person had entered the U.S. and had not declared these items, there's a high possibility A person could have contracted a disease from this jewelry and developed serious health issues. Yeah, isn't there enough shit here in this country already? I can stop this shit. Believe me, no one stops the shit like me. Woo! Baby. 3 strikes in 1 episode. That's not bad. Oh, just wait till 2024. Here we're going to quickly do a new segment we call Memes and Things, where we pull memes from various sources out there. This particular meme comes from Asshole in New York City. You know, there's a picture of these conjoined twins here, and this guy is married to one of the conjoined twins, and the caption says, "I can't seem to go a day without a menage a trois." You're going to hell, pal. You can sit next to me. And along these lines, there's something we like to call people never seen together in the same room. And this meme features the late Brady Bunch star Robert Reed and the radio host Howard Stern. I never saw those two together in the same room. Did you? Well, nobody sees Howard in any rooms these days. He's hiding under his bed since March of 2020. So there you have it. Memes and things, and people never seen together in the same room. I mentioned on the last episode that I am playing fantasy football this year. It started pretty rough. First 2 weeks, I lost. And in one of the games, I got totally blown out. The second game, I lost by a fraction, less than 1% of a point. It was a nail biter. Well, since that time, I've rolled off 3 straight victories. And one of my key decisions was moving Brock Purdy of the 49ers into my starting lineup. The guy has got what it takes. And just a couple days ago, he threw 4 TDs against the Cowboys, the vaunted Dallas defense. And I subbed out a couple of my wide receivers who were on bye weekends. And I put Jacoby Myers in there from the Raiders. He caught a touchdown. And I was playing Josh Jacobs, his teammate, the running back, defending NFL rushing champion. He hasn't done very well this year, but he did pretty good, scored a touchdown. So I'm on a roll here. I'm now 3-2. I'm in second place in my league, but I've scored the most points. Don't know if I'm going to catch the first place person, but if I do, I will win the tiebreaker because I got more points. And of course, the MLB playoffs are in full swing. The local favorite, the Baltimore Orioles, really laid an egg. They got swept. I was rooting for them. I was rooting for the Brewers. They got swept. I was rooting for the Miami Marlins. They got swept. As usual, everything I touch turns to gold. But, a lot of people are complaining about the new baseball playoff format. These teams win 100 games, they win their division, they have the best record in the league, and their reward is a bye. They sit out the first round, and they get almost a week off, which in football really helps teams because it allows them to heal up, and helps NBA teams too because they're beat up after a long season. Does not work as well in baseball. Baseball is about a rhythm. Teams get into a rhythm. There's peaks and valleys. I mean, the 162 game season is a marathon that goes on over 6 months. It's just this marathon. And then at the end of it, suddenly flip a switch and it's a 40-yard dash. And so this happens every year. I think the solution is if you want to expand and get more teams into the postseason, which keeps fans engaged, keeps teams engaged, but not have this seemingly unfair advantage to the teams that have won all these games. What you do is, well, I wish they could reduce the number of regular season games, but you know, the owners would never go for that. But setting that aside, get rid of the divisions. Get rid of all the divisions. There's 3 divisions, I guess, in each league, 6 total divisions. Get rid of them. Just have an American League and a National League, just like they did in the old days, okay? And then you just get the top 8 teams in each league and forget about all that other stuff. Get the top 8 teams and then play a tournament. 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5, and then it cuts down to the final 4 in each league, and they play those, and then so on and so forth. That's my proposal. But, you know, there's a baseball commissioner who is too busy worrying about Georgia voting registration to actually focus on baseball. So we're also focusing on music, a little musical analysis, if you will. I'm focusing on original songs because of copyright things. I have to look into this because I think under fair use, I can critique. It's fair for me to critique a song. I may not be able to play much of it though. So to be determined there. But last time we focused on the closing theme of A Very Oddcaster, which was the Jabberwocky Rap. This time we're going to focus on the opening theme of A Very Oddcaster, which is a song called Victim Boulevard. This is a song that I wrote, venting about the victim mentality which exists in the world today. I mean, everyone's trying to corner their own little victim market, right? On whatever it is. I mean, it's just everywhere. It's kind of annoying. And yeah, there's a little bit of, there's a little flashback in the middle of the song, sort of a back in the day, we weren't that way, which is kind of one of those okay boomer moments, if you will. But again, the victim mentality is really pathetic. So the song is about people whining, you know, and it's kind of poking at that. And so have a listen.
So life ain't treated you kindly, your luck ain't been too great. Well, I hope that you won't mind me trying to set you straight. So someone said a bad word, it was someone you don't even know. So some things can't be unheard, 'cause you can't let it go. So get up on your feet and dust your poor self off. Straighten up your collar and turn your head and call. Somewhere we need to draw the line. Your feelings will just be fine. Travel just a little too far down that victim boulevard.
1, 2, 3, 4. Riding in my 69 green Cutlass, heading out to low down low on gas. Remo
too far down that victim boulevard.
Okay, so if you have any comments or feedback or suggestions or beat poetry, I'm always down for that. Write to veryoddcaster@gmail.com. That's veryoddcaster@gmail.com. We will see you again real soon. Have a special day. Have a special day.